Here with eCoustics, I'm Mitch Anderson, eCoustics producer.
But that's not true.
HiFi Bear.
But that's not true.
I want to hear more.
You're Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo.
You got Mr. Green Jeans.
Dude, these
So
jeans
you
do
can't
rule.
start. We can't start a podcast where you're not honest about what your real name is.
This is Captain Kangaroo, host of the eCoustics podcast.
That's what I thought.
My moniker, Mitch Anderson, is no longer going to be used for the duration of this episode.
Captain Kangaroo and HiFi Bear.
What
a blast.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm in trouble. We have T10 Bespoke, and these in-ear computers.
That's right. Well said.
Thank you very much.
You got the memo.
Are something that I have been around all weekend. We went out to dinner. I have learned a lot about the history of this product. Learned more than I asked for about you.
Well, sorry.
You don't need to apologize.
I mean, the good news is we haven't shared a bedroom yet, so there's more to know.
I need the rundown on how all this works, and I want to hear them really bad because I've heard. So I want to know.
Hearing is believing.
Yep.
It's funny, we come to a show like this, and because our product doesn't look like other products, people don't really know what it is. And they'll walk by and they'll say, is it an exotic car key?
Is it a guitar pick?
Is the world's largest guitar pick? Not for speed picking.
Right.
Is it a cigarette lighter? You know?
Sure.
It's all of those things, thank God, in the right context.
Yeah.
But no,
and we'll get into that because there's some truth there.
It's a unique shape, but the shape is an evolution of the form factor of the actual earphones. And so when we design things, we always start with the function of what we're doing. And my longstanding philosophy as a designer and a mechanical engineer is that a good designer can make anything look good, right? So you don't start with something that looks good and then try and put the guts inside. You start with the guts inside and work your way out. Sure. And then find a way to make it look good, right? So we think it looks good. A lot of people think it looks good. They think it looks so good it's an exotic car key. I'm not going to complain.
I think it looks good.
So we thought it would be fun because I've been getting to know the eCoustics team, and I really respect the channel and what you guys stand for.
Thanks.
And it seemed like, hey, maybe we ought to do a little collab,
especially,
and build a unit for your audience. And we set it up on this cool raffle, right? Yeah. And we limited it. Brian and I talked about it. We thought this would be fun to make sure that people understood what the odds were. It's not a raffle for profit, right? Right. It's a raffle to make sure that somebody who might really appreciate this technology or this sound, but may not be in a position right away to write a $4,000 or $5,000 check, they can take a spin at the wheel. And so this is a $4,000 custom unit in the eCoustics livery, right? And you got a 1 in 80 chance with a $50 ticket at being able to own this piece of art and this piece of eCoustics history and this piece of T10 Bespoke history. Yes. So with that said, let's get it naked. I'm ready. I'm really ready. So this is the way that the products come packaged. We have this beautiful black oak box, sort of like a watch box, and you slide off the bra or whatever we want to call that wrapper. And every piece that we build comes with a note that's written by my team and signed by us, so they know the care and concern was put into building these things. Of course, we include my name and my personal phone number, because everybody that buys something like this, they're going to use it for a lifetime, and they need to know that they've got line of sight access to the men and women who build this product, and that we're going to be around to service and take care of and upgrade and repair and put new technology in as it comes down the line, at least until I'm dead. And I'm 55. I got probably 20 years left. So our lifetime warranty is limited by how many years I got left. So I got a lot of guys who are like, you need to smoke fewer cigars and drink a little less and curb the driving problems, because I really don't want to have my investment wasted. Sure. And I understand their point of view. I think that's fair. So then you crack this thing open, right? And we remove this little protector, and that is so that when you ship it, nothing can move around. That makes sense to me. But it doubles as a nice stand, right? So we do that. And then inside,
I look really good.
You got a mirror.
Magic mirror.
Because you want to be able to check your bad self out.
I appreciate that. Yeah? Yeah.
And this is nicely trimmed.
I do my cuts myself.
I like the fact that it's two-tone.
Thank you. Calico.
You're a calico cat.
Absolutely.
So inside this box, you discover that you've got the T10 Bespoke resting in its own little cradle, its own little nest. And inside of that is a second relief, and that's holding the guitar pick, the speed pick, is that this is your induction charger. And so this has a USB port on the back. Okay.
USB-C.
USB-C. And then you set the T10 Bespoke on there, and it's magnetic, right? So it self-locates like a connector for a watch, right? And that is what you put it on to charge it. Okay. Now, that's a pocket size, right?
Dang, is that pretty looking?
It's tiny, and it's all cast bronze. Now, if we make it in gold or if we make it silver, whatever your unit is, we match the livery of the unit to the charger so that it's a match set. Now, you can charge this on any inductive charging mat.
Okay.
So if you've got a charge mat at home or in your car and you just want to lay this on there, that's fine. This is specifically designed, and we designed the coils with TDK. Both the transmission coil and the receive coil are custom wound for us by TDK.
That's very cool.
And that gives us the maximum speed. So if you want to charge this thing on our induction charger, you can charge it in an hour. If you use a regular person's induction mat, about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So there's a nice little benefit.
Sure.
But because it's so small, it's slip right in your pocket. It's easy to take with you. A lot of those induction mats are big.
Yeah.
And so I wanted something that was small and purpose-built to really do the job well. Now, the other thing that's cool about the box is you lift this tray out, and inside you'll find out it comes with a leather carry bag.
Okay.
And that leather carry bag is lined with silk. And that's what your T10 Bespoke goes in.
Of course it is.
That's where it goes to bed, right?
Of course it is, yeah.
Then this felt bag comes out, and that's what you put your ICS, Inductive Charging Station.
Okay.
ICS. So that goes in there. You'll also discover that we've got this cool, itty-bitty little, but very nice, high-quality USB cable. And a great thing to do with that is you just wind it like this, drop your ICS in the middle, and that whole thing slips right into this felt bag. Keep it together. And it's all together. And then this felt bag can go inside of this.
Perfect.
Now nothing scratches each other. You got everything you need in your kit, right? Now,
that's not something to breeze over, though. Like not scratching it up and just taking care of it and having some pride in what it is.
We've got
and
both.
Like, I mean,
I've got guys who like a leather bomber jacket.
Oh, sure.
They grind it up, get it messy, and it patinas over time, and it looks really cool.
Yep.
And then I've got other customers who are quite obsessive, and they're there with their polishing cloth, every time they put it away.
Right.
We don't care how you roll. It's your unit, and it's meant to be a part of you and to emulate your personality, your lifestyle, and that's something that makes our product a little bit different than the average earphone. Is these are hand built, custom for each person, and therefore the colors and the materials. And the design of the unit is meant to reflect their brand or their lifestyle or their favorite religion or whatever.
I wouldn't be wrong in saying like the only limitations on what if I was to purchase one personally, the only limitations on what it would look like would be my imagination, essentially.
Completely.
Yeah.
We have matched people's religions. We've matched their cars.
That's cool.
We've matched your favorite cowboy boots.
I saw that video on YouTube. Was it a Lamborghini or Ferrari?
Oh, we've done many.
Oh, okay.
Many.
That was pretty cool.
From Bentleys and Ferraris to I matched a Prius.
Okay.
People
great.
are passionate about elements of their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so again, what we're a company really about is celebrating your own individual passions.
Yeah.
Music is a passion for many of us. This celebrates music, but we all have things. I'm a ring wearer. Right? These tell a story. Each one of these tells a story about a person or a place or something I've done. And these units can tell a story too. So I think it's fun. If people go to our website, they'll see gallery. And you can read through the stories of all the different kinds of units we've made.
It's a pretty website.
We made them for. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a fun website to be on.
So out of the back of this box, there's a little hole, right? That little oval hole is so you can take a longer USB cable.
Okay, cool. Yep.
And you can take that and put it on your bedside table. That cord comes up, it then plugs into this little rubber gripper and slides in and holds the ICS in place.
That's nice.
Right? And so then at nighttime, all you have to do is come home. This will be already plugged in and sitting there. You're going to drop your T10 in its case and go nighty-night. I love you, baby.
Yep.
And,
cool.
And it's going to charge overnight. Right?
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. So we try to make sure that all the details are thoughtful. Now, this has a unit, has a bail. And a bail is a fancy word for a loop that you can put a chain through.
Sure.
It could be a keychain, it could be a necklace, it could be a lanyard. Now, if you just set that on there, right, good nighty-night.
Yeah.
When you get it out and you want to boot it up and you're ready to use it, just like a computer, you're going to hold a button for 2 seconds. 1 1000, 2 1000. Release. You see 2 lights. That means the ear computers have talked to one another, established a stereo connection, and they're ready to be used in stereo. If you just pulled one out, it would sum mono and send right and left to the same bud.
Oh, that's
some people want to just use one, but you want to get both channels.
I like that.
Right? But if you pair them as a pair, then you pull them out, they're going to act as a stereo pair. And you'll see that on this special edition for eCoustics, we've taken the eCoustics logo.
Yeah, it's really neat.
And proudly presented that right on the touch face. Now that's a multi-gesture surface. And in the app, there's a picture of the earphone so you can learn all the gestures. But if you touch the front half, volume up.
Yep.
You touch the back half, volume down. You don't have to keep touching.
Okay,
You just put your finger on there.
Okay.
Oh, volume goes down.
Yeah.
Boom, volume goes up.
Yep.
Now, if you want to go to the next song, you start in the back and swipe forward.
Okay.
Next track. You want to go back, what are you going to do? Backwards.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you wanted to fast forward, how would you do that? Start, swipe, and then hold. And it'll fast forward until you release.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. Start, swipe backwards, hold, and it'll rewind until you release.
Okay.
There are no other earphones that allow you fast forward and rewind. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah,
right?
it is cool.
You can also play and stop and pause. You can assign gestures like a 3-second hold. You can take a picture from your phone. So this becomes a remote shutter to run if you want to take a selfie. So there's some funny stuff.
This is what I'm here for. Now we're in the weeds.
It's just for shits and giggles, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But we've got a computer here, so let's use it. Let's do stuff. Now, part of that computer is we have a 9-axis accelerometer gyroscope. That means we know what direction your head is, and we know how fast your head is getting there. And so we can begin to create gesture libraries. Things like go to the next song, right? Or raise the volume.
Yeah.
Right? We also have a patent for what we call, this is fun to say. You ready for this? Everybody practice. Non-verbal, mouth-based gesticulations.
That's what it was.
Right.
Yes.
And so that means things like clicking my teeth, popping my tongue, snitching. And maybe I want to assign those gestures to open my garage door, or to start or stop a recording on my digital audio workstation, or to change the color of my Philips Hue light bulbs, right, to purple. The idea behind having an in-ear computer is that the extensibility of these user interfaces, whether they're voice control interfaces, head control interfaces, mouth interfaces, or touch interfaces, allows you to connect, command, and control other devices.
So it can be a home remote.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So increasingly, as we do more partnerships, you tie in IFTTT, for example. You tie in MIDI. You tie in Dante.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working on.
Wow.
So it's a cart and a horse exercise. If you think about a computer, what is a computer without software?
Not much.
It's a boat anchor.
Yep.
Okay. So, but somebody has to make the device before you can write software for it.
Sure.
So the exercise here was, how do I fit a hi-fi system and a computer into 1 cubic centimeter? And that's what took 66,000 hours of R&D and 10 years of my life to do. But the result is, it is really a computer and really a hi-fi system all in one thing. So real quick, let's talk about the hi-fi parts. So we got, obviously, got to get the zeros and ones to it. So we need a high-res codec. Then you got the digital sound to it, but you want to be able to manipulate the sound, right?
Yes.
So we use twin 10 silica cadence hi-fi DSPs, one for the microphones, one for the speakers. And that DSP is real important. Everybody understands DSP in audio now. It gives us God's level of control over what we want to do to shape the sound.
Right.
So I got twin DSPs in each ear. So 4 DSPs total. Okay, then we're going to run it through either selectable Class D or Class AB amplification. D is for longest battery life. AB is for highest fidelity, best dynamics.
How'd you get? There's an AB and a D amp inside each of these?
Yes. And then finally, after you leave the Class D or AB amplification circuit, you're going to go to what we believe to be the world's best in-ear transducer ever created. It was co-patented by Sonyan and Klipsch.
Okay.
In 2007, these speakers are 20 years old.
Yeah.
And they're very, very, very amazing speakers, but they're also sort of ridiculously expensive. Mm-hmm. And so for regular commercial products that you're going to sell, like traditional earphones to regular consumers, it doesn't make sense. Speakers like this are, I will tell you exactly how much, but I'll tell you that they're not quite $100. Now, if you were to go buy a set of Apple AirPods, the case and both AirPods, the total bill of materials is about $65 for everything.
I got you.
Right?
Following.
Imagine that one of my speakers in one earphone costs more than an entire set of Apple AirPods.
Yeah.
And in a base unit, imagine that the bill of materials is $1,174.
Okay.
That's the parts. That's no labor. Mm-hmm. That's the screws, the ceramic, the circuits, the electronics, the charging case,
amplifiers,
the amplifiers, it's the DSP. My parts are $1,174 for a base unit.
Yeah.
And then it takes us 20 to 40 hours to build, test, and finish a unit. So what you discover is that at $3,000, which is our base price, these units aren't particularly profitable for us, but they allow people to get into the business and hear an ear computer for the first time. Now, thankfully, most of our customers customize these things, and we do make a little bit of money on the customization. Wow. So average out the door, 5 to 7.
Sure.
But we've got customers that have customized 25, 150. Our highest end piece sold last year was 144,000
Wow,
for one piece. So that's a true collector and a true aficionado.
Yeah.
But this eCoustics livery, which is a darn good looking unit.
It's beautiful.
Custom logos. We got custom snakeskin, custom cast bronze. This is a $4,000 piece as it sits.
It's very pretty. Yeah. I want to hear it.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right. So, like Cinderella's shoes.
I've never heard this before.
With a deep in-ear monitor, the most important thing we do is get you a perfect fit.
Okay.
And that's why we offer 6 different sizes of tips. As it turns out, your 6 different sizes of tips for the customer that eventually gets this unit are right down in here. And it's kind of fun to look at this. This is a number 1 tip, and I'm going to put it out here on the black where we can see it well. And this is a number 6 tip right here. Now think about the fact that the human anatomy means I got to be able to fit ear holes that is this small all the way up to ear holes that is this big.
Yep.
And by making this the smallest earphone in the world, I can put it in an 8-year-old little girl's ear. I put it in a giant old grandpa ear or a football player's ear.
Yeah.
Because we've got such incredible opportunity to use these very different sizes of tips. Now you can't make a tip this small if you don't have the world's smallest nozzle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? So that's a 5mm nozzle, and all the way at the end of it is the balanced armature.
Okay.
Now that's really important. You guys probably understand what they call the law of inverse square.
Okay.
And that means that every time we double the distance, we lose 6 decibels. The same thing works in reverse. Every time I can get a speaker twice as close to your ear hole or your eardrum or further inside your ear, then I can get 6 more dB, or I can use a much smaller speaker.
Yep.
And so by using this incredible speaker that goes all the way up here at the very tippy tip, then it is sitting about 4 millimeters from your eardrum.
Yeah.
Now you think about an AirPod or a
That's
traditional earphone,
wild.
those speakers are out here in the concha bowl of your ear.
Yep.
They've got to go around the first bend. They got to reflect off that bend, which causes distortion and other problems, what they call head effect, and then make their way around your eardrum. With my device, it goes all the way into the end of the first bend and has line of sight access to your eardrum. So I don't have the acoustic anomalies and challenges because I am literally giving you line of sight between the end of that balanced armature and your actual eardrum.
Yeah,
so between that and the DSPs, that little tiny speaker is going to give you a world of sound. And I'm so glad you haven't heard one yet because
Me too.
we do get some O faces. We get a lot of goosebumps.
Yeah, I'm ready for
I get
that.
giggles.
I'm here for
and
it.
I have had Kais that broke down into tears.
Yeah,
not kidding.
I'm ready for
So
it.
if you don't cry,
You'll get a reaction.
you're still going to get.
I guarantee it.
Well, you're going to feel something.
I
right?
will,
You're going
yes.
to feel something. So the first thing
So
we're going to do.
by the way, this is my left. I have like pretty big hands. Like I can palm a basketball with my left hand. But dude, this is as big as my thumbnail. That's it. And there's 2 separate amplifiers in there. All those parts.
154 parts inside of that.
Wow,
154 parts.
I mean, I think it's pretty dope, honestly. Like,
All right, well, let's figure out
I'm
what
ready.
size ear you are. Okay.
yeah.
So I'll put this
I
number
know it's
6
a little
back
bit.
here.
I think maybe the 4 looks like maybe it would be a good start.
Well, it might be. In fact, 4 is average, and that's
Okay.
a good starting point when people are trying to figure out what fits me.
Sure.
Now, I have an advantage because I can look in your ears.
Exactly.
But if you're sitting at home, you're going to have to just run through them, like trying on shoes.
Yep.
And what we're looking for, and this is the easiest way to teach people, if you took your fingers and you crammed them in your ears, that's what it needs to sound like.
Yeah.
No leaks.
Right.
So we want it to be as big as possible, but comfortable.
Yeah.
And we want to seal so good that when you pull it out, it literally goes smack.
Okay.
You don't want to pull them out real fast because
No,
it'll pop.
no thanks. Right, yeah, exactly.
But it should be like a Chinese finger puzzle. Relatively easy to go in, but not so easy to
And
pull
wiggle
out.
out. Yep.
And there's a real benefit to that, by the way. If you think about, I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a physics geek.
No no apologies.
You may remember that the torque equation is force times distance. So the longer the lever arm, the less force is required to tweak something out. All right, let's think about what this is. That's a short lever arm with a low amount of mass that's going to go deep inside your ear, which is, again, shortening the lever arm. So an advantage to having a very small, very lightweight device that goes deeply inside your ear is you can shake your head like there is no tomorrow, and this earphone will not come out of your ear, provided that you have the correct size ear tip, which is also allowing that to float in your ear like a suspension. Properly fit, this device doesn't touch your ear. Only the ear tip does.
Oh, the whole body won't touch?
No.
Okay.
It just floats there.
Okay.
So you don't feel it. And it only weighs 3.2 grams. It's half the weight of an AirPod.
It weighs nothing.
Yeah. So I'm going to look in your head.
Looking in. You found,
daylight.
Found nothing
Dang.
all the way through.
You do have small ear holes.
Straight
I'm going to
across.
suggest, based on what I see, I think you're in the range of a number 2.
Let's do it then. And so just so you know, like I don't have much experience with in-ear computers, period. I don't have any experience with in-ear computers. This is my first. But in-ear monitors, I've always been super apprehensive about because they make me nervous because I use my ears every day, right? And so like having something that close, and definitely not a phobia, but something I'm aware of as to why I've been apprehensive about IEMs.
Well, you should be apprehensive.
Right.
You should be apprehensive about anything that affects your ears.
Yeah.
Right? Or anything that affects your eyes or your nose or your body.
Yeah.
An interesting thing that I like to point out to people, and once they think through it, they realize, oh, that makes a lot of sense. We in the audio industry, we talk a lot about signal to noise ratio.
It's one of my favorite places to be.
As a recording artist, you think a lot about signal to noise ratio.
I love it.
Now let's think about it in broader terms.
Okay.
You and I have signal here.
Yep.
We're surrounded by noise.
Yep.
What are we doing here with this microphone? We're getting it a little closer to improve the signal to noise ratio.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Let's think about what happens when we put a device in our ear that doesn't make a good fit or a good seal.
Yeah.
It means noise is going to leak in. So what do you have to do in a loud environment? You have to turn your music up.
I know.
What does that do to your hearing?
It hurts it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so an earphone in and of itself isn't good, bad, or indifferent. Noise and too much volume is definitely bad.
Yeah.
So what we want are devices that allow us to listen more quietly than we might ordinarily listen.
Makes sense to me.
That preserves our hearing.
Yep.
And that's what in-ear monitors were designed originally to do by a man named Jerry Harvey, who invented the in-ear monitor for Alex Van Halen to try and keep the man from going deaf from the stage wedges that were literally killing his ears. Now, over the years, this concept has got perversely applied.
Yep.
And now people are making in-ear monitors with 10, 12, 15. One company makes an in-ear monitor with 21 speakers in it.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it can hit 140 decibels. It's designed to make you be deaf. I'm sorry. I mean, that's not what Jerry Harvey had in mind.
Sure.
But everybody, should do what they want to do in the world.
Right.
And what I believe is that our hearing is precious. I wish I had been more careful with my hearing when I was playing in rock bands as a young guy. And I wish I had had devices like this available to me, because now I can block so much noise that I can listen much more quietly, but still get all of the dynamics of the music. So my listening habits are dramatically affected positively by having a device that cuts so much noise out.
Cool.
It allows me to listen quietly.
All right.
Now, let's check the fit here.
Yep.
I'm going to go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle.
I'll know how it's fitting.
Yep.
And I'll know ahead of time if I got close or not. The answer is no. Your ear looks like it's a 2, but it went in way too easily.
Yeah.
So we're gonna swap that out. We're gonna get out of number 3.
I don't know how this goes for video when we're trying this stuff on, but to me, this is stuff I like looking at because it has to be a process. Like, I enjoy that part. It's a personal item.
It is a personal item.
Yeah.
You get a running shoe fit.
Exactly.
You go to a running shoe expert. They watch your gait, your cadence.
Totally.
They know what you need for an insole. I'm sort of like a running shoe guy for ears.
That's what I'm saying. I like it.
But guess what? You're bigger than a 3. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oh, no way. You got an amazing ear hole. Let's bring some 5s over here.
Mastering ear holes, finalizing ear holes. There they are. Man, we thought it was a 2, and now we're at a 5.
Well, here's what's going on.
Yeah, I want to know.
So the initial entry to your ear hole is constricted.
Okay.
And so visually, what I can see looks like a 2. But our ear tips are super compliant. They're really thin silicone.
They're very comfortable.
I do that so that I don't put excess pressure on your tragus. The tragus has more nerve endings in it than any other part of your ear. And so when people say, I get a lot of fatigue or my earphones hurt,
that's the spot.
It's because this part of your ear is getting bowed out.
Oh, that feeling
It's getting bowed out because the audio nozzle is too big.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if you got small ears or girl ears, most earphones definitely are going to cause pressure on your tragus.
It hurts.
Now, when this is properly fit, your tragus is going to be flat.
Okay.
It's not going to move.
Okay.
It's going to be, you're going to get an ear seal and get that suction, but you're not going to feel any pressure. Yep. Okay. That's a 5. That looks like a 5. Let's put that in there.
Oh yeah, that feels like a 5.
It does, but it's still not big enough.
Holy
That's it. Can we get a 6 for this guy?
Honestly, I'm probably figuring out right now why I've never got along with IEMs.
Well, especially if you don't have good compliant tips and plenty of sizes to go through.
Oh yeah.
When you have 3 sizes to choose from, I'm sorry. ears are not sizable in three jumps. Can you imagine if you only had 3 shoe sizes? I mean, it's just obviously not going to work.
No.
We've actually done custom tips for people that need a 7, right? And we've done custom ear molds for people that have really special ears or burn victims.
So that is options for you guys.
Oh gosh,
yeah,
yes.
to do customs.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's cool.
Absolutely.
That's good to know.
Now this is, I've been putting the wrong one in the wrong ear. Let's put this one in.
Okay.
Okay.
6.
6 it is.
That feels really good.
Now see, that's what we want.
That feels really good.
That if it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
No, this feels really good.
Yeah, let's put this one in your other ear. And I'll tell you what, first though, let's download the app on your phone.
I don't know where it is.
Okay, well then we'll use my phone.
Let's use yours.
And we'll just pair it up on mine because we're going to do some fun stuff here and play with your hearing.
Okay.
And that stuff a lot of people haven't seen or done before, and I think it'll be fun for you. Let's go over here to settings.
Oh, I know it'll be fun for me.
And you see the lights are going red and white. That means they're looking for a friend.
Okay.
Right? And your other one in your ear, it's doing the same thing. We'll get that on camera. You've got this really cool, you look like I don't know, like a stormtrooper with this red and white thing going on in your ear. Very, very nice. So we're going to go into Bluetooth.
Yep.
And we're going to look for it. And it's going to pop up down here on the bottom of our list. It's going to say T10. eCoustics Edition T10 Bespoke. Can't miss that, right?
Nope.
When I touch it, the lights are going to flash 3 times. And they're going to tell me they have now.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. It says it to you in your ear.
It does.
It's
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
And you'll see it's automatically opened up the app, right? Which is fun. And we're going to hit connect.
Okay.
And now this is the Bluetooth low energy radio pairing for data. So we're using all of the Bluetooth frequency just for audio. Then we're using BLE for data.
Okay.
That gives us more bandwidth on the Bluetooth so we can really deliver great sound.
Okay.
Now, within this, I'm going to do the super hearing section. And I'm going to come over here to transparency. And I'm going to open up that ear.
What the?
Now, a fun thing to do, and this is why I do that while we only have one in, is we're going to find out where parity is between your acoustic ear and your digital ear. So I want you to face me so your 2 ears
This is kind of crazy feeling.
are matching. You're looking at me and your 2 ears are equidistant from my voice. And you're going to take this slider bar and you're going to move it until your right ear that has the digital ear is at the exact same volume as your left ear.
Okay.
Now it's going to make the change when you lift your finger. Then it sends the data, right?
Okay.
So each time you move it, lift your finger. So you can go do that, and I'll go check, 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 check.
Oh man, we're real close.
Check, 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 check. Old MacDonald had a farm, and on that farm he had a billy goat.
So your
and he
voice
did bad
is,
things to the
I
billy
mean,
goat.
you're
Check, check,
maybe
check.
a little loud on that side.
Check,
I'm
check, check.
leaning a little bit right. But
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, how are you? DJ voice. Oh my goodness, Captain Kangaroo.
So let's I'm gonna turn it up just a touch and let's call it good, like right about there, I guess.
All right, so you think that's about parity with the real world?
I think this is about okay.
Okay, perfect.
I can feel the seal.
You will,
You
and
know?
your own voice, because we
Yeah.
blocked your station tube's exit,
Right.
is going to sound
I'm a little-
hyper. It's
yeah.
going to sound like you're singing in the shower.
Maybe a little bit more.
But everybody else's voices should sound very natural. And in fact, people
I
tell
like
me
this. This
they
is
can't
fine.
tell the difference between their digital ear acoustically
Yeah.
and their analog ear.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a very
really
natural
close. The
transparency.
reason I can tell is because my voice sounds like a little it's in my head because it's sealed off.
That's right.
But man, it's right there.
Yeah. And so for people that do want to, be able to listen to music or take a phone call, but be aware about their environments.
Like if you have kids sleeping or napping.
You can tell that this is
yeah.
not just being aware of, it's as though you weren't wearing
No,
the
you're
device.
you're present. I'm
Yeah.
present right now.
So go ahead and put this other one in this. And here's to teach you a trick. Index finger on the top screw, thumb on the bottom screw. So you're going to hold it like this. And the
Okay.
reason is that's that touch surface that does all those things.
Yeah.
So you don't want to run a bunch of stuff. So go ahead and grab it like that, and then you're going to go straight in. And then wiggle, wiggle until you feel like you've got it in and level and sealed.
Almost there. They're different sizes. I think maybe my ears are. Oh wait, no, hold on. Let it open up,
Check, check, check. Let me feel it.
dude. It's really close.
I'll probably go like that.
Oh yeah, there it
Does
is.
that feel about right? And it looks the same in both ears.
Okay, so this is my voice is a little bit in my head,
Yeah.
but my perception is normal.
Now we're going to have some fun. This place is loud,
It is loud.
right? And that makes you stressed out.
Okay.
You know what else it does to your ears? Your ears go into protection mode.
Okay.
Your eardrums get tighter, right? If I'm going to gut punch you,
Yeah.
what does your stomach do? It tenses, but it's a reflex.
Right.
Your eardrums have the same reflex. When things get loud, your eardrums protect themselves by getting tight.
This is really wild.
So what we want to do right now
these in.
is we want to relax your eardrums.
Okay.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
I'm going to cut the background sound down.
Okay.
Now you and I can still talk, but I just made all that noise go away. Isn't that more pleasant? Don't you feel more relaxed already?
Yeah, this is really interesting.
Right? And you can just moderate how much background do I want. Again, you can still hear, but I've turned it way down.
And the interesting thing right now is I'm going to turn this back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I can hear myself a little bit better. And I think maybe this was like a happy accident, but there's music playing in the background of this right now that I'm hearing.
Is it from music
here?
from my device?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And
hold
so
on. Let's stop that.
What was cool about that is that I just had my own fancy soundtrack to my environment.
That's correct. Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, like when that phrase, like, hey, what would be the song that you would pick when you walk into a party for the first time and everyone knows you've arrived?
Exactly.
I can live that moment every day.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I like that. I can hear my surroundings.
Controlling how much of the outside we choose to let in.
This is the one?
Yeah. I think that is a very, very fun feature.
I like this up. That is so...
But the utility of that...
Man, is that cool.
Now
Okay.
we're going to have the fun part.
Okay, yeah.
I've got a high-res playlist here.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you a couple of 3 different tracks that are going to exercise this thing.
Okay.
And then I want you to choose some tracks that are tracks you like and listen to and you know well.
Okay.
So that you can really feel, from your perspective,
Yep.
how does this sound? So
You
first
got it.
let's do some exercising.
Okay.
And I'm going to take you to silence. I'm going to put on the ANC.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep. Noise canceling on.
Okay. And hopefully
Pretty dead.
it's
I got nothing.
pretty darn quiet.
I got you.
Yeah. And I'm right in front of you and I'm a loud talker.
I got nothing.
Now we're going to go over here to this...
Oh, it just did something when I did my hands like this.
Oh, it actually... It heard my voice and thought I was asking it something. We'll have to do voice training on this.
Right,
But
sure.
you normally do your voice training in a quiet place,
That would
not
make
a loud
sense.
place.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go over here to my high-res playlist, and I'll encourage anybody that's
comfortable?
interested,
Very
check
comfortable.
out, you can go download the Harrods T10 Bespoke playlist on Tidal.
Okay.
Got about, I don't know, 150 tracks or something
Yep.
in there. And no, this is smaller, 78 tracks.
Okay.
But a lot of good songs. First thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to a vocal track,
Yep.
and we're going to listen at a very moderate volume level,
Okay.
okay? Because I want you to, again, to be able to relax. Here we go. Now, we'll hit pause. I'm going to turn your ears back on. Check, check, check. Now we can talk again.
Yeah, we're
back
good.
To back to reality.
We're good.
All right. And in that track, what you're hopefully noticing is you get the sound stage, you get the imaging, you get the really, really deep notes of the bass voice.
Oh, yeah, they're big.
You get the consonants without the sibilants.
Yep.
It's a very pleasant and comfortable hi-fi listening experience. But again, we didn't have it cranked up.
No.
Right? You were listening at about 85 dB where we had the volume set. Okay. But
What I
hopefully
liked about
you get all
that
the
test
dynamics.
was I was able to kind of like, I noticed that the low end was leaning left, so I was able to seal this. I was able to bring the bass centered, you know? And then my seal actually feels the best it's felt by testing it with a track to line the low end up.
Absolutely.
So that was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
That worked really well.
And to be honest, your ears really almost could use a size 7. I don't have a size 7 with me. I should have brought some.
Okay.
But I would, for a personal unit for you, I would actually want you to have a slightly larger ear tip.
I wish that all of you could hear what I'm hearing right now, because I'm hearing him perfectly, and the music that's going on behind it is pretty loud, and it's pretty cool, but it's like, it's very strange.
So the next track we're gonna listen to, and I'm gonna go ahead and shut your ears back off again after I talk about it. We're gonna listen to Bubbles.
Sure.
It's a track a lot of audiophiles listen and measure. It's spatial audio.
Okay.
It's recorded to really move things around. Now this is a near field listening experience,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're listening to speakers in front of you, you're talking about staging.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're listening to in-ears, it's about being on the stage.
Okay.
That's
makes
the
sense.
difference.
Yep.
So all the fidelity, all the mix, but you're on the stage instead of in the audience.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, once you start thinking of it in those terms, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because if your favorite band is Steely Dan, and to be up there on stage with Donald Fagen, I mean, come on, that's tittillating. That's good. That's
Sure.
good stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a different experience because it is near field. But in this track, the ping pong balls that you hear bouncing around that are normally out there in space, they're going to be inside your head, bouncing off your skull where you thought you had a brain.
Okay.
And that's a fun ASMR level kind of experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut her down. Here we go. the guys that recorded this track really knew what they were doing. I highly recommend Bubbles by Yossi, I can't say it right, Horikawa. It's one of the best demo tracks, I think, to use for spatial audio. All right, we're going to bring it back to reality. Hit pause, turn your ears back on.
Thank you. Okay, now my ears are back on. I don't have any experience with this driver. I don't have any, first time I've heard these. Dude, the sound stage is this 6'4". That's a wide wing. The sound stage is my whole wingspan.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. That's a cool sound, Bear.
It's fun. Good. Very relaxing.
It's very, in it. You can be present in that sound very simply.
And be present.
Yeah, I love that.
Love it. All right, so the next track I'm going to play is going to have it's got a 24 hertz bass note.
Okay.
Very, very low.
Okay.
A lot of floor standing speakers have a hard time with that. Bookshelf speakers. And if you think about it, it's not that the speakers aren't able to produce the frequency, it's that room effect, standing waves, a lot of things make it very difficult at those low registers to get full representation of those very low bass notes. Now here, I've got a sealed in-ear experience. I can deliver those frequencies and I can deliver them compellingly. Now I'm not going to play you a rap track or a hip hop track or an EDM track. I'm going to play you a yoga track, which is sort of silly, but it's got these beautiful bells that are going to go across the soundstage. They play this giant kettle drum with a soft mallet, and they start at the edge and they work it out to the center of the drum.
Sure.
So you can hear the timbre of this low, low, low bass drum change. And again, you don't think about bass drums as having something with that much character. So I think it's fun to listen not only that this is a very low frequency, but that the timbre noticeably changes as they move that mallet across the head. So the good news is you don't have to wait long for the drop. It happens in about 3 seconds into this song. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
The track is called Fading Sun by Turge Insugest. There it is. There's the goosebumps. We got giggles and goosebumps. So Mitch is hired. Look at that face. We call that the O face. And that's
you got me a little bit in scary territory. So I'm trusting you hard right now. I'm trusting you hard right now.
All right.
No, that is so cool because those tones are those tones that are in those bells exist around the 500 to 2.5K hertz, and the distortion that's in those frequency bands right there. If your cue is
bells
wrong,
are hard,
you're gonna
and if there's
hurt
dissonance,
yourself.
you'll really hear a driver fail when you take a half step and play it together.
Oh man, is that tough?
And they do that, and those bells will make that oscillation.
Yeah.
And what I really like about that track is that not only do you get the low, but when they hit those bells, it is crystal clear.
Dude.
You hear the oscillation, but you get no distortion. And that's fun.
Yeah, that was cool for me.
What kind of music do you like to listen to?
All of it.
You're a snob like me. If it's well recorded,
if it's well recorded and it comes from a place of good, I'm pretty much all in.
Well, I got a couple of my favorites.
Let's hear one.
You want to hear one?
Yeah, let's hear one.
I'm a big fan of this.
I wish this would translate to the video.
Sonota big band.
I wish what I have right here would translate over to the video.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn your ears back off. Is there ANC on right now or not?
I can hear my surroundings perfectly.
Okay, I opened you up. Let's close you back down. We're gonna listen to this big band track.
Okay.
You can hear horns.
Yep.
And when that trombone takes off about 10 or 15 seconds in, it's like hitting a whole nother gear.
Okay.
All right. So enjoy this.
All right.
This is take 5 by the Kenichi Sonota Big Band. And again, I think the best way to describe this experience is it's like you're on stage.
These sound awesome.
With the horns in your face.
They sound really good. How do I do that how do I go from ANC to back to hearing my surroundings with just the headphones?
I'll show you.
Okay.
So hold on for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cue up the gesture.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into...
If you're still hanging around, I hope you are.
It's a long video.
We're T10 Bespoke eCoustics here at AXPONA. I'm Mitch Anderson. This is HiFi Bear. And we're going through these eCoustics headphones that are made by T10 Bespoke. The T10 coming from the Klipsch drivers. And this is my first experience with the technology and the sound. I'm having a ball.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to assign a short hold to either earphone, left or right.
Let's do the right one.
And make that ANC. And so you're going to touch that touch face with your whole finger like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to play a Fender bass tone. That's a D note on a Fender Jasmine bass recorded in my studio.
Okay, yeah.
And that is going to alternate through these sections. So now I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Oops, I missed. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? And it's going to change it. Now you got your ANC on. I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. Okay? And we're going to go to transparency mode. So that's how you do it. Now, the other way that you might do it is by talking to it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's pretty loud in here, and I haven't done voice training,
That's fine.
so this may or may not work.
That's okay.
But failing on camera is fun.
That's the best way to fail.
I've been failing on camera since I was a kid.
Yeah, failing publicly
Let's fail
is the
again.
only way to go.
All right, so without a voice training, I can't promise this will work, but we're going to try it.
Okay.
So I've turned voice control on.
Yep.
And you'll see that right here in the app, it tells you all the different things you can talk about and that the earphone will understand.
Yeah.
And one of these is that we want to be able to turn on and off our transparency and our ANC.
Yep.
Because you walk into a Starbucks to order,
Yep.
maybe you got your hands full. It's nice to just be able to talk to it.
It is.
So we're going to try that. We'll put it over here where we can see if it works or not. That way we fail epically and publicly.
Yes.
And we're going to say, hey, Ear Micro, ANC on. Whammo. And I just talked to it.
Yeah, it's good. It works in this environment. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty loud in here, and it's not
loud
trained.
in here.
Hey, Ear Micro, transparency on. Didn't work that time, but you get the idea.
I do.
And there's lots of things. You can change the volume, change the track, talk to Siri.
If I hold it for
4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. Fender bass note. Doom. And just like that, it's going to go to the next thing.
That was just one.
Or you might have been volume up and volume down. And you'll notice where you touch it makes a different sound.
Does.
And that's how you know. That's how you learn. Like a guitar, you put your finger in the right place, you get the right note. So we have this set up to play different notes depending on where you put your finger.
This is just me. This is user.
It takes a day.
It does. It takes a second.
But if you're a player, it takes a little less. I see you're in the right place. That's going to work. You get to that Fender D note, and it's going to change as it did.
Now it's in the right spot. Okay, that's so
easy. Let's train you while you're here.
That works well.
Let's try something.
Yeah.
If I've got a little bit of music playing.
Okay.
Okay, let's turn it down.
Yep.
This is a great track, by the way. Recommend this track highly. I'm gonna show you how I just touch the front of this and hold it, and your volume is going to go up.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to touch the back of it.
Yep.
And hold it, right? And the volume is just going to go down. And I'm not banging.
It's a good pace too. It's a smooth DJ
smooth detail.
Smooth DJ fade.
Maybe I want to go to the next track. I'm going to touch in the back, and I'm going to swipe forward. Oops, I missed.
Yep.
Your ear's in the way. You might have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Back and then forward.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
No, so
and that's why you want the face facing out.
You just got to get used to where it sits for your own ear.
And there's a groove that your finger rides through to help direct you in the direction that you're doing. There you go.
Okay.
So now you go on to the next track.
It's just learning like an instrument. You got to learn
listen,
the space.
Learning a violin's tough.
It's the muscle memory.
Because A, you've got no frets, and B, you got a very little space to work in. So at the same time, violinists learn how to be very articulate with their fingers.
Exactly.
I've built the world's smallest in-ear listening device.
Yeah.
If I had a big touch face, any idiot could do it on the first day.
I would probably end up learning to do it with my pinky.
I put my thumb right here where my chin bends. Mm-hmm. That's my pivot point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is my tragus. This is my antihelix, and I can feel those parts of my ear.
Yeah.
So the practice is tragus, antihelix, tragus, antihelix. Then all you got to do is find your tragus, roll over, and it's volume up. Find your anti-helix, roll over, it's volume down.
Yep.
Same for if I want to go to the next track, I'm going to find my anti-helix, roll over, swipe forward.
So you
learn quickly.
Oh,
Pantera,
okay.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh, that guitar's...
So you know...
Hold on.
Oh,
I wanted to hear the guitar come in.
Hold on.
I want to hear
now for Pantera,
some distorted
honestly,
electric. I want to hear it.
I'm going to cheat.
Cheat away.
Because on Pantera, I know ahead of time, it was recorded a long time ago.
Okay.
And it needs a little kick. I'm going to take 45 hertz.
Yep.
And I'm going to bump it. About 6 dB.
Okay.
And I'm going to take 150 hertz and bump it about 3 dB. And for me, this is how we want Pantera to hear.
Okay.
And let's get this, let's get your super hearing back into ANC mode.
Okay.
And then let's go back.
And then will you pull the EQ back up, please?
Yes, I will.
Thanks.
And hold on for a second. Let's make sure we're in the right spot. Let's get that EQ handy. And then let's let you drive it. Now these are plus or minus 12 dB. So you got a ton of control. It's a parametric EQ under the skin of a graphic EQ. I can change every single one of these frequency points for each customer. So if I've got a customer that says, man, I really like my low frequency adjustment point to be at 45 hertz, then we'll put it there. Maybe he says, I like my low frequency at 60 hertz. We'll put it there. We can choose the filter, low pass, low shelf, high pass, high shelf, band pass, any filter and any Q factor. So again, for my recording engineers and people who really know how to run an equalizer. We work together to design the equalizer for that customer to be the frequencies and cues that they prefer. Everything about T10 is customizable. We also take people's audiograms where they have had their hearing checked, and then we take and retune the transparency microphones to their hearing, and then they use T10s as a hearing aid or just to help them hear better in different circumstances, even if they don't have hearing damage. Got a lot of control.
Super hearing.
Super hearing, you got it. You're learning quick.
Transparency. Okay, that's so cool. Okay, so when I go back to transparency, so I'm hearing my surroundings again, the volume control is still controlling the music, not my transparency.
That's two different volume controls. That's right.
That's really cool that that's
exactly
independent.
Right.
I like that a lot. And the EQ is super usable.
Yeah, you might not have been able to hear. It's plus or minus 12 dB, and each of those frequency points is settable by the customer. So we can work together. It's fully parametric under a graphic overlay.
Yep.
And so we can choose the frequency point for each slider. We can choose even more. I can put more sliders on screen if you want them. You can choose the Q factor.
Yep.
You can choose
How
what kind of filter you want. So low shelf, low pass. You can use band pass, high pass, high shelf, and we can very carefully give you the equalizer that you prefer to be able to work with.
And so also where my head goes with what he just said too is from like using this transparency, like listening to the music with everything being customizable like that. If you know that one ear has a harder time for you personally than your other ear, then you can compensate
completely
the one ear to balance your environment out during your whole day.
We're finding out that about 30% of our customers are sending us the audiogram and letting it, even guys that are young with perfectly good hearing.
Sure.
But they feel like, hey, I want to know,
yeah.
Hey, do I have any hearing damage, or do I hear differently in my two ears? Yeah. Can I further optimize? A lot of people go through their whole life and they never get their hearing tested. That's weird. You get your vision tested once a year. You don't get your hearing tested. So hearing testing isn't about I'm an old person or I need a hearing aid. It's about, am I hearing as well as I could? Why would you not want to?
Why do I like having these in? I'm not annoyed at all by like how my voice sounds. You sound
You get used to it real quick.
I can't hear anything going on over there.
Pull them out of your ears, both, and you're going to notice that I'm going to sound quieter all at once because you are actually hearing in a boosted mode.
Yeah, and I was pretty close though.
Yeah.
It was boosted, but
and you're not hearing one I've got here at the show that is for hearing aid patients where we've gained it and we've adjusted for a typical hearing loss roll off. If I put that in your ear, you could hear the bartenders 100 feet away clinking a glass. Whoa. It's nuts. It's like spy grade stuff. So our hearing aid version, which we're releasing later this year with some very special AI-based hearing algorithms that run on our new chipset.
Yep.
We're calling them T10 Bionic. And they do things like what we call known speaker identification. It's an AI algorithm. You speak a sentence into the phone. Quick brown fox jumped over the yellow lamb, right? Then the AI characterizes that speaker's voice, and now it knows that voice. So let's think about the typical cocktail problem, right? You go to a restaurant, you have a hard time distinguishing the people at your table. Even young people go to a party, they have that problem. You go to a rock concert, you have that problem. You're screaming at each other at Coachella. Now, with these devices and with the proper AI algorithm, we can let in only the voices that we've trained.
Yep.
So now we say, I want to know, I want to be able to talk to my waitress. I want to be able to talk to my kid. I want to be able to talk to my brother, my father. I'm going to go to a restaurant, and the only voices I'm going to hear are the ones it knows. It's going to block everybody else out. That's AI. Mm-hmm. So very different than noise cancellation or noise reduction. This is what we call selective hearing. Yeah. And it doesn't just work for voices. You might say, I'm going to the park to work from home, right? I'm going to sit there in my park, I'm going to listen to music, have my laptop out. I want to hear the birds chirp. It's a pretty spring day. I like chirping birds. And then this jerk sits on the park bench right next to me, and he's a loud talking dork, right?
Yeah, dork.
I want to delete the dork.
The dorkiest.
While I still hear the birds.
Yeah.
It can do that because the AI, like Photoshop, if you want to take the dog out, you used to have to spend like a day.
Oh, yeah.
Now you circle it on your phone, dog gone, right?
Dog gone.
That's what AI can do for decibels, just like it does for pixels.
And so I clarified this at dinner where like I'm not comfortable personally with that. Like whatever, it's not an AI episode. And I asked like, so can this exist without? And the answer was a clear yes. Like the DSP would fit all of my personal needs, right? Because I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable with AI, and that's fine because this does everything that I would be comfortable with it doing.
Let's think about something though. There's AI being used actively, like you're talking to ChatGPT, and so ChatGPT is learning an awful lot about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's different than using AI to develop an algorithm, okay? And at that point in time, it's the result of having used the algorithm that greatly compresses how much training time is required.
Yeah.
Okay? And so you're not using AI in the moment, you're using the derivative product of an AI-generated algorithm.
Yeah.
So it's not invasive in that level. Now, I suppose if we're training it on your voice, and if we knew the name of the person, that would be invasive.
Yeah.
But if we're using this to help you hear better, and your voice is getting characterized so that one device is better able to recognize the server at a restaurant or your wife, well, I don't know if that's invasive, and there's nobody storing that data aside from your earphone.
Yeah,
and it certainly doesn't know who it is or what name it is.
That's the really interesting part. That about like the self-contained storage. I find that a little bit alluring, and I can definitely see. You know, there's a million places my brain goes. Like one would be like safety for my kids.
Absolutely.
You're at an amusement park, and like, holy crap, where'd my 6-year-old go?
Yeah.
And I can hear him from a long ways away when I boost all that stuff. Like, it's really, and and I can do it comfortably.
Yeah. Thank you for saying. Well, small size
it's
gives
really
us the opportunity to provide a comfortable fit, because we're not going to be impinging or bumping up. Look, if you're 7 feet tall, getting on Spirit Airlines is going to be the death of you. Your knees aren't going to go.
No, right.
And so we can only cram so much stuff, into a small space and not have, a fit problem. So for me, again, the first most important thing was to design a device that could fit every ear, whether small or large. Then the trick is, how much compute can I put in here? And every year that changes. We get more transistors on chips, and chips get more sophisticated. And so one of the things I'm proudest about, because I grew up with an Atari 400, that was my first computer, then an Atari 800, then a 1200, I had a Commodore 64, and an Apple I, Apple II, right? Then an IBM XT. The point of these computers was you could open it up, there's a motherboard, and you can plug stuff in.
Right.
And so you didn't buy it and feel like, hey, 2 years from now, I'm going to throw my Apple II away.
Yeah.
You said, I'm going to put a new graphics card in. I'm going to upgrade the hard drive.
Exactly.
So this is the same. This is a chassis. It's made from ceramic. This is an expensive unit. I'm going to take the metal of my ring and I'm going to grind it. Just nasty. Grind it.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you find the scratch? It's on the ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Because ceramic zirconium scratches sterling silver. This won't scratch. It won't break. It's screwed together with a single 1mm watch screw. I unscrew that screw and all 154 parts come out. That means I can upgrade it for a lifetime. Each time we come out with a new circuit board, you unscrew it, you put the circuit board in, you screw it back together in, brand new product.
If I misplace them, is there a find me?
On the next one there is, right? We didn't do that the first time because the technology wasn't quite there.
I asked.
But it does happen on the next
since
one.
They can be up,
that
software goes into...
Our first acoustics team member who wins this unit, about 1.5 years from now, when the next circuit board drops, they'll be offered the opportunity, like all our customers, to upgrade. It'll cost about $500.
Okay.
And so you take your $4,000 unit, and for $500, the thing's a brand new product with the latest, coolest features for as long as I'm alive and running the company.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Well, I could say a million things, but this is what the product is. I think for the capstone of my portion of this video, and they sound good. It's a good sounding headphone. It isn't a headphone though; it's an ear computer. That happens to be a good sounding headphone. So thank you, Bear.
Well, best wishes.
Yeah, good luck
and
to
good
whoever
luck
wins this puppy.
To the winner. You got a 1 in 80 chance for each $50 ticket that you buy.
Yeah.
And that we think gives a whole new opportunity out there to somebody that maybe at a stage in their life where they're a college kid or they're a technology enthusiast.
That is really
don't
cool,
really have
man.
4,000 lying around, but for $50 they can get a pretty good shot.
That's freaking fun. Thanks
you.
everybody for watching.
Nice to have you listen.
Dude,
Thanks to eCoustics.
See you guys.